It's Psalms 91, verse 4. He will cover you in his feathers. He will shelter you with his wings. His faithful promises are your armor and protection. Now, my verse, it's not one of those, mind-boggling parables of Jesus and stuff like that, but it's something that's personally very, very important to me. And it was back in junior high school, about, I think, 7th grade it was. I was just kind of, really, really accepting Christ and really just getting on fire for Christ. And I had a bad day. I had an awful day. Nothing went right at school. It was an awful day. And I went out in the woods because I love to go out in the woods and pray. I feel very close to God when I'm out in creation. And I was walking in the woods and I kind of just broke down. And I told God, I said, God, are you even there? God, do you hear my prayers? And I asked for him plainly. I said, will you give me a sign? And I didn't expect angel choirs to come down from heaven or anything. And sure enough, that didn't happen. And I got to the spot where I normally pray. And it's covered in feathers. It's just covered in feathers. And I don't know why. I'm like, was there a bird that was attacked here or what? And it's just, I said, a really dry, kind of heartless prayer. And I just couldn't take my mind off those feathers. And so I just took a feather home with me. And I was just kind of took it with me. Didn't really think anything of that. And that night, I was still really restless. And I just felt a strong urge to turn to the Bible. And so I opened the Bible just on a whim, opened to a random page. And the word feathers jumped out of the page at me. And sure enough, it was Psalms 91, verse 4, telling me that he will cover me with his feathers, shelter me with his wings, and that his faithful promises would be my armor and protection. And I really just looked into that verse because his promises will be my protection. You read throughout the scriptures, you see the promises God gives us. He will never leave us. We have inheritance in heaven. That's a powerful thing to hear directly from the mouth of God. Because I looked at that verse and it talks about his promises. It's encouraged me to look through the scriptures and find out what exactly are these promises. And then when I see those promises that God makes to whoever he's talking to in the scriptures, I see them directly going to me. And it's just, it just makes me feel so great. There's no word on earth or no word in the English language that can describe how I feel. Just feel like he's directly talking to me every time I read the scriptures now. Mother Teresa of Calcutta, she was a very devout woman. She devoted her whole life to God and she suffered a lot and she had lots of doubts, just like all of us. And one day she was crossing the border into Gaza, Israel, and it's a really bad area. And they asked her, they said, do you have any weapons on you? And she looks at the guy and she says, oh yes, my prayer books. And so I would say, never underestimate the power of prayer. Prayer leads me to the scriptures. It makes me wonder, who exactly am I praying to? Who is this wonderful, mysterious being? And I'm led to the scriptures. I think the best part, especially when reading the New Testament, I found, and reading the story of Jesus and disciples, don't ever open the Bible unless you get into that mindset of, I'm not just reading a book, I'm reading God's book. I'm reading this true story. And just immersing yourself in it and imagining that you are one of the disciples. I often find sometimes when I'm reading, especially the crucifixion and the trial, I'm thinking if I'm Peter and I'll break down in tears and I won't be able to continue reading because there's so much emotion built into that. There's a song, there's a hymn, it's Poor Wayfaring Stranger. That's what I feel like sometimes. I'm a wayfaring stranger down here on earth and kind of traveling through. And I kind of see the church as this heavenly colony placed on earth. And the scripture is a direct way to heaven, a direct way to receive God's will, because God speaks in a variety of ways and crazy, just amazing ways. But the best way and the oldest way that's been around for about 2013 years now, is the Holy Scriptures.